It's a continuance from the last live we did. So if you ain't watched the last live, check that one out. Come back over here, check this one out. Shalana, what it is, baby? You wasn't even on the last live, were you? I just was live for 2 hours and 30 minutes. But we going through Durk paperwork. We started reading it on the last live. What this is Durk team still fighting for the bill of particulars. What it is, we back. You already know. Durk legal team still fighting for the bill of particulars. I think in this case, even though it's rare, I think they do deserve the bill of particulars to see what evidence the government used to secure this indictment by the grand jury, because it's not easy, it's not hard to get a grand jury to indict. Because there's no rebuttal. It's just the state or the United States government presenting their case, and they can say anything for the jury to say, all right, we got enough to secure an indictment. And we already know that they lied to the jury with these rap lyrics to secure the first indictment. That's what even made them superseded. But I think, and I agree with you feeling, we should know what y'all wrote to the grand jury. They already got caught lying once. We just want to make sure, if we run an honest system here, we just want to make sure that 6-7 straight up, that there wasn't more lies told. And I think that's fair, y'all, if we got an honest system and we on the up and up with it. So we just found out, y'all, that nobody, not one government witness has ever admitted that Durk paid anybody for any hit. All these so-called witnesses they got, and they don't have nobody that say Durk paid for a hit. Nobody. You got the guy that's saying, I felt pressured. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Elaborate as to the pressure that you faced. It made you think that you had to jump out of a car and kill Quando Rondo. There's no government witness that say they got paid or none of that. Now, one government witness has ever said that Mr. Banks paid for or offered to pay for the charged murder with music videos or rap lyrics. Now, one government witness has ever said that his motive to commit murder was to be featured in music videos or rap songs. See United States versus Chung. Reverse conviction where there was no evidence that cash was paid by solicitors to murderer was the motive for the murder. Yet these prosecutors have decided on their own, in an absence of corroboration, that any musical corroboration between Mr. Banks and any alleged co-conspirators post-dating August 19, 2022 was a quid pro quo for murder. Wow. So they made that shit up. Appreciate it, Nikki, for the $6 cash app. Wow, they made that shit up, y'all. That's why I be telling you, be careful with believing what the feds put out. You gotta be just the same thing they did in the Diddy case, y'all. People be mad with me when I be saying shit like that. Like, you don't know if that's the truth. Like, what you mean? The feds said it, the feds will say anything. They would say anything to secure a conviction. They'll say anything to sway public opinion. They will say anything. Meanwhile, the truth is, no, they don't have any evidence of money being offered. They don't have any evidence of money being given. They don't have any evidence of nobody being promised anything. But yet, Durk is arrested for murder for hire. That's why I don't believe federal paperwork. I much rather believe, but yet Durk is arrested for murder for hire. That's why I don't believe federal paperwork. I much rather believe the defense side of the story. That's why, yo, we be so right on most of these criminal cases. Because we don't believe the feds. We don't believe the state. We don't believe prosecution. Yo, they lie, man. Told y'all they lied on me. They lie. They make up theories. They falsify evidence. They taint witnesses. They do so much to secure these convictions, and most of it is not legal. So the whole time you got everybody on the internet, yo, talking about Durk done, yo, they said he offered this and offered that. But they don't got no evidence he offered any goddamn thing. And then you gotta factor in the credibility of the witnesses. We don't know who they is. We know Jam one of them, but we don't know what Jam gonna say. We don't know before Jam told or anybody else told. We don't know how many other statements they made. They could have made several, and that matters to a jury when you factoring in credibility. The truth only gotta be told once. If you gotta get questioned 4 or 5 times before you so-called tell the truth, then that means we gotta question the truth. Maybe you ain't telling the truth now if you lied 3 times prior. That like button, man. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, man. Let's go back. Mr. Banks, let's go back. Yet these prosecutors have decided on their own and in the absence of corroboration that any musical corroboration between Mr. Banks and any alleged co-conspirators post-dating August 19th, 2022 was quid pro quo for murder. The timing of this development exuberates its prejudicial effects. Either the prosecution just invented this theory 2.5 weeks ago, or they purposely hidden this theory from the defense until then. Either way, it is not fair and it cannot stand. If the court does not dismiss this indictment as vague, it should at least take firm measures to guard against the constant shifting of the government's quid pro quo theory. Because remember, the first theory was people did get paid. Y'all remember that was the first theory. Money was promised. And then they took the murder for hire off the. They took murder for hire, or they took the fact that Durk promised a payment. They took that out of the overt acts. If y'all can remember, right? That wasn't an overt act no more. But that's what they alleged in the beginning, that somebody got paid. Yo, we haven't been wrong on the criminal case yet. For the people new to the channel, the court should order a bill of particulars and review the grand jury transcripts in camera to ensure that the theory presented at trial is tied to what was presented to the grand jury. I agree. Now, will the judge agree? Who knows? But if this was an honest system, that would be the fair thing to do. Considering that the government shifted their theory 3 times, at least 3 times so far. At the very least, the court should constrain the government's theory to what is contained in discovery. It relied upon in response to the court November 18th order that filing contained no evidence that music videos and rap lyrics upon which the government now relies were a consideration for the murder. And for good reason, no such evidence exists. In lieu of evidence, we have the very thing that higher courts have repeatedly cautioned against. Prosecutors who fill in the gaps in order to win convictions. Yo, what case that we covered? What case was this where they talked about filling in the gaps? Was that Diddy case? Where they said you can't fill in the gaps with theory? You can't use evidence and then use theory to fill in the gaps. Yo, what case was that, y'all? Was that, who case was that we covered that they tried to do that in? And they lost. Think about it if it did. Don't quote me on that. A real danger created by this indictment vagueness is that at trial, the government could point to any instance of Mr. Banks' generosity with an alleged co-conspirator or any time that an alleged co-conspirator received a benefit from his proximity to Mr. Banks' success, and the government will cite it as a bounty or a downstream benefit of murder. If Mr. Banks picked up a dinner tab, if Mr. Banks buys someone a gift, if Mr. Banks allows somebody to accompany him on a private flight, if somebody collaborates with him on a musical project, the government may decide that this was murder, quid pro quo. I agree. This is problematic for several reasons. One reason is that the pecuniary benefit, which means monetary, paid by the solicitor of murder to the murderer does not satisfy the statute quid pro quo requirement in the absence of any overt government agreement or understanding between the solicitor and the murderer that the money benefit is in exchange for the murder. Instead of for some other purpose, in Chong, the Ninth Circuit Court, we talked about Chong in the last live, y'all. So if you're new to this live, go back to the last live where they discussed the Chong versus United States. At the end of the video, the Ninth Circuit Court reversed the defendant's conviction because the evidence did not support the government's claim that this money was promised to the murderer in exchange for murdering the victim. See United States versus Frampton, holding that promise of a favor does not satisfy the statute in the absence of an outstanding does not satisfy the statute in the absence of an outstanding as to the form it would actually take. United States versus Phillips, holding that a legal enforceable promise to forgive a loan satisfies the statute as long as there is a clear mutual agreement between the solicitor and the hitman of payment in exchange for the murder. Absence of any evidence that Mr. Banks proposed in bestowing benefits on others is to induce a murder, then those benefits are irrelevant. So absence any evidence that Mr. Banks proposed in bestowing benefits on others is to induce a murder, then those benefits are irrelevant. So basically saying, yo, y'all can't just say because he bought somebody a watch or bought somebody a grill that, you know, he did that because they participated in the murder. No, y'all can't do that because he bought a lot of gifts. So what Drew Findling would have to do is bring people to testify on Durk's behalf that he bought things from. Yeah, they cut me short last live. That he bought things for. You know, I bought him a chain. I paid his rent. None of these people was involved in the murder. So how can we say just because he bought Didi a watch that he did this because you understand what I'm saying? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You can't just say anything. He brought a person. He brought it because they participated in this murder, girl, because he brought a lot of things for a lot of people. You have to have proof. And as we know, based off this paperwork, there's no proof that he brought any of these guys anything because they committed a crime. It's no proof. Another class of problems is that described by what the fuck is this word? What the fuck is this word, y'all? Semigal. Long line of cases on the dangers of vague indictment without clarity. What did Mr. Banks allegedly pay or promise to pay as quid pro quo for the murder? Mr. Banks is not permitted the opportunity to prepare an adequate defense or to address himself to the relevant question for the fact and law. The government theory at trial strays from what was presented to the grand jury. The vagueness permits the government to shift its theory as the case progresses, as the government has been doing here. And it creates the risk that defendant will be deprived of protection against double jeopardy. In this prosecution, we see these dangers unfolding as outlined below. In the last several weeks, the government's theory of guilt with respect to the murder quid pro quo, what is collaterally called the bounty, has taken a turn. The government, for the first time, articulates the theory that certain listed music videos and rap songs feature a bargain for consideration for the murder charge. In other words, the opportunity of a rap verse or appear in a certain music video is now, for the first time, alleged to be a payment in exchange for murder. First two, notice contains no allegation that any rap lyrics or videos are consideration for murder. The government first 404B notice contains no allegations that any lyrics or videos were payment in exchange for the charged murder. The notice dated September 15, 2025 lists 4 songs. Its profit purpose for omitting one of the songs is that it is an admission that Mr. Banks was under pressure to avenge King Von's death. As the other 3 songs, the government profit that they are admissions by Mr. Banks that he ordered violence and paid bounties. Similarly, the government's second 404B notice 404B notice does not advance the theory that Mr. Banks paid for this murder with rap songs and music videos features. The notice dated November 17, 2025 added 2 songs by Mr. Banks to his previous list, allegedly as admissions by Mr. Banks that he pays for bounties and directs violence, reasons contained in the first notice. And also, for the new purpose of showing Mr. Banks' relationship with his OTF co-conspirators. The second notice also lists 4 new songs as proposed by 404B against Mr. Wilson. Again, the government stated purpose in the introducing these songs into evidence is that they are omissions, not the rap verses or videos themselves were conferred upon Mr. Wilson as quid pro quo for murder. Yeah, they moving the goalposts, man. At the November 18th hearing, the court directed the government to file those portions of the discovery. So y'all remember the last paperwork we read on Durk. The judge told them that you got to be more absolute, you know. You got to be more particular as to what you're meaning or why you are introducing these rap lyrics. What verses, what songs, what videos are y'all saying is evidence of this crime? And in the United States government response, they just moved the goalposts and added more songs without answering the judge's request. Y'all remember that paper we read a couple days ago? At the November 18th hearing, the court directed the government to file those portions of the discovery that encompasses its theory as to bounty. So here are you telling me that those 100 pages. So here are you telling me that those 100 pages filed at docket entry 239 encompass. Then what it is that the government would argue is that Then what it is that the government would argue as to either bounty on one hand, or means by which allegedly Mr. Banks directed the crime occur. And later, what I'm going to do is tell the government that if the government can rest on what is already done, which is, as I was told, was in document number 293. The government may supplement that between now and Friday. In response, the government informed the court that it rested on docket entry 293 that filing contains no evidence to support the government's current theory that Mr. Banks conferred features in rap songs or music videos to the alleged co-conspirators as a mutual understood payment for the murder. Now the government discloses a new theory. What they're portraying in these paperwork is that the government keeps moving the goalposts. They're not answering what the judge is telling them, but they're just moving the goalposts further. The government's January 16th, 2026 notice, its third, marks the first time it articulates the theory that these rap lyrics and music videos are the items of pecuniary value exchanged as consideration for the murder. The notice again adds 2 new songs to the list in addition to those listed in the first 2 notices for the grand jury, total of 12 songs. More importantly, it adds a new theory as to the essential element for the murder for hire. That the listed 12 songs are admissions and visuals showing the downstream benefits received by co-conspirators involved in the murder for hire scheme, including defendants and uncharged co-conspirators. Participation in prominent placement in music videos following SR murder. The government's January 30th filing on the same issue echoes the argument that the songs and videos contained in the third notice prove the downstream benefit rewarded to the co-conspirators involved in the murder scheme, including prominent placement in music videos following SR's death. In its January 23rd filing, the government argues that the indictment, coupled with the discovery, provides clear notice to defendants of the government's murder for hire theory. So that's what they're using to say, we have to use these lyrics. They saying these lyrics with the discovery basically nails Durk to the cross. But these lyrics are irrelevant because these lyrics aren't talking about the murder. You get what I'm saying? But they saying that these lyrics and these features was payment. So we can't use these lyrics and these features as the means to show payment that, yo, we don't really got no fucking proof that Durk paid any motherfucking buy. That makes sense to people? Y'all get me? It claims that the government has alleged the straightforward theory that Mr. Banks rewarded co-conspirators by, among other things, featuring many of the direct participants in the murder in music videos and rap lyrics in the months following the murder. On the contrary, the government never alleged before mid-January that these or any music videos or rap lyrics were a consideration that Mr. Banks promised or paid in exchange for murder, or that the expectation of these features were the motivation to commit the murder. The second superseding indictment merely names vague, lucrative music opportunities, which can mean many things, from rap verses to concert, record deals, and beyond. In the wake of the second superseding indictment, the government has had every chance to make its theory clear. Instead, it has taken advantage of the indictment vagueness, a cartel blatch, to continually disguise and re-innovate its case. At the November 18th hearing, defense counsel articulated this danger and foreshadowed the current situation. Last night we got discovery production from the government, and I won't get into details because it's subjective to protective order, but it was an FBI 302, and it listed about 15 different music videos, and those videos involve a depict some permutation of Mr. Banks and Mr. Wilson, or Mr. Banks and protected witness 1. All right, yeah, that's yeah. So yeah, we know that's jam. So basically, this is Durk in music videos with co-conspirators. So we know he did something with Didi, and protected witness 1 is jam. Some permutation of the 3 of those people. And so I get this 302, and the first thing I think is, oh, there's obviously these vague allegations in the indictment that as a bounty, Mr. Banks provided lucrative music opportunities to co-conspirators, provided those lucrative music opportunities, but are left to wonder what lucrative music opportunities is the government alleging were related to bounty. So I'm looking at these music videos and I'm thinking, okay, is the government going to present these to the jury in such a way that the jury could draw an inference that Mr. Banks featured Mr. Wilson and PW1 in a music video as payment of a bounty? And you know, one of the problems with a vague indictment is that it gives the prosecution free hand to fill in the facts and to fill in the gaps about which facts it wants to use to satisfy, to meet the elements, and to illustrate the government's shifting theory, because we have a statement that there was never any music opportunities that was a bounty. And then maybe there was a fear of loss of music opportunity that was a bounty. And now, are these new music videos going to be presented to the jury in such a way that they could draw the inference that those were a bounty? And so that this is not theoretically case law. This is something that prevents us from doing our job as the Constitution requires. So basically what he's saying is, yo, y'all all over the place, y'all. Y'all is trying to sell us this idea. First y'all said the music videos wasn't a bounty. Now y'all saying that. Now they saying that, look, if I didn't rap, you know, if I didn't commit this crime, I might not get a song. Like, yo, come on, yo, that's too vague. So so basically what they're saying is, if Durk gave me a verse and did a video, that was a bounty. But I was pressured to do this murder because he might not give me a verse or give me a video, and that's a bounty too. But there was no money paid. Yo, this is bogus, y'all. They're gonna win this, and they're gonna win this motion. Watch. It's gonna fuck the whole case up for the feds. If the judge is being fair, they should win this motion. And these lyrics should not be allowed in court. Because they're not saying that these lyrics depict or is evidence of the murder. They saying these lyrics is evidence of the bounty paid. These features is evidence of a bounty paid, but they don't have no proof. They're just saying it. That's what they're trying to do, PNR. This is why I don't listen to the feds when they drop paperwork, and I will forever fight against it. Anytime they drop paperwork and people run with it as fact, I'm gonna call them fucking stupid. Yo, because these people lie. Look. Because we have a statement that there was never any music opportunities that was a bounty. And then maybe kind of there was a fear of a loss of music opportunity that was a bounty. And now, are these new music videos going to be presented to the jury in such a way that they could draw the inference that those were a bounty? And so, this is not just theoretical case law. This is something that prevents us from doing our job as the Constitution requires. This was an opportunity for the government to clear up any ambiguity about what its bounty allegations actually are. Instead, it chose obfuscation. The fact of music videos that some of the defendants or protected witnesses are in together doesn't necessarily just have to be a bounty. It can be about motive. It can be about relationship between co-conspirators. It can be about the formation or organization of only the family. All of these points, as the government addressed in its opposition as to 404B evidence, are relevant. So music videos and the presence within music videos is not just about bounty. Either the government had not yet come up with the theory on November 18th that music videos and rap lyrics were consideration for murder, or it wanted to keep the defense in the dark about its quid pro quo theory in order to secure a technical advantage, a concealment that would offend the constitutional principles of due process and notice. The government newly articulated theory is its own invention, unsupported by the evidence. Mind you, y'all, there's nobody telling them this. They don't have nobody telling them that, yo, he put us in music videos. You know, that's how we got paid. They made this up on their own. There's no proof. Like, they're just running with a narrative. The government incorrectly asserts that its discovery clearly supports the straightforward theory that Mr. Banks rewarded co-conspirators by, among other things, featuring many of the direct participants in the murder in music videos and rap lyrics in the months following the murder. In actuality, the discovery contains nothing in support of that theory. This is why, so they must got the discovery now. In response to the court orders that the government filed, any discovery that would encompass its bounty theory and obviate the need for a bill of particulars. The government filed nothing that touched on this music feature as quid pro quo allegations. Indeed, no witnesses ever told the government that Mr. Banks offered or awarded features in songs or videos as payment for the murder. No witnesses ever told the government that the murder was motivated by a promise of music videos or rap features, affirming that it is the motive of murderers that is relevant to whether the murder occurred in return for a promise to pay something of particular value. Not one witness, not ever, in place of actual evidence, the government appears to have searched the internet for every musical corroboration between Mr. Banks and the alleged co-conspirators that post-dates the charged shooting, and then constructed its own inference that these corroborations are the murder of quid pro quo. Yo, get the fuck out of here. These people dirty as a motherfucker. To reiterate, no witness to date has told the government that Mr. Banks paid for this murder with music videos and song features the government lists in its third notice, or with any music opportunities for that matter, or that the murder was motivated by the promise or expectation of such. It thus appears that these newfangled allegations are the invention of the prosecution imagination. The danger going forward is that the government witnesses will change their story to meet the requirements of the government's new theory, which they will do because they do coerce witnesses. We have seen it happen already over the course of this investigation. For example, a witness who admitted to the murder but denies that he did it for pay changed his tune in response to repetitive and suggestive government questions about payment. If it happens here, and if at trial, any of the government's concurrent. Oh yeah, so that's what they did paperwork. Remember, the first paperwork was Durk paid for the murder. Then the second paperwork was, well, he didn't actually pay for it. He didn't actually tell us. I just felt pressure. So they saying, look, they already did this once. They already did this with one witness. So basically what Drew Findling is saying is that, yo, y'all are constructing a theory that the witnesses is not on board with. But what y'all gonna do at trial is y'all gonna coerce these witnesses to saying y'all theory. So it's gonna make it line up. But that's not what's that wasn't actually being said in the beginning. Y'all get me? I wanna make sure everybody on board, man. Basically, Drew Findling is saying that, yo, y'all are setting this up to coerce witnesses. That's the route that we going at right now. It's going to be a lot of witness coercion. They already alleging that you coerced one witness because he changed his term from, yeah, it was a bounty paid, yeah, I participated in the murder, to I just felt pressured, you know. I didn't actually get paid, but I felt pressured. But never really justify what this felt pressured mean. So look, so moving forward, let's go back. The danger going forward is that the government witnesses will change their stories to meet the requirements of the government's new theory. We have seen it happen already over the course of this investigation. For example, a witness who admitted to the murder but denies that he did it for pay changes his tune in response to the repetitive and suggestive government question about payment. If it happens here, and if at trial, any of the government's current cooperators testified that he was motivated. Any of the government's current cooperators testifies that he was motivated to participate in this murder by the understanding that he would be featured in music videos or rap songs, then it will be a downstream repercussion of the vague indictment, and it will be an unconstitutional miscarriage of justice. Conclusion. Mr. Banks seeks dismissal of this dangerous vague indictment. Short of that, however, he requests that the court require the government to file a bill of particulars that is tied. So basically, all right, now I see the, all right. The bill of particulars. The reason why Drew Findling is trying to get the bill of particulars is because he wants to lock the government down on this theory. You get what I'm saying? The theory that they use to secure this indictment has to be the same theory that y'all use at trial. So the reason they want this bill of particulars is to lock the government into a story. So because it's obvious by this paperwork that they changed the story 3, 4, 5 times. So we need to see the bill of particulars. What did y'all use to secure this indictment? What's your original story? Because this got to be the story that y'all stick with. Y'all can't keep changing the story when y'all see fit. I think they're gonna win this motion. I think it's only right for them to win this motion. If the judge is playing fair. Look, he requests that the court requires the government to file a bill of particulars that is tied to the theory presented to the grand jury. When the United States government seeks to charge somebody with a crime, it should be willing and able to inform him of what he has done. He should be able to inform him of what he has done that is alleged to have violated the law. The government should not be permitted to change its story along with whatever of the case as it already has done here. I agree 100%. I think this is a great motion. I think Brian Steele might have got one. Not Brian Steele, Drew Findling. Because it makes sense. And we have seen it. It's not like he's making it up. We've seen it in paperwork. Over the course of Durk indictment or arrest, we have seen the narrative change. We have seen it change. All his lawyers saying is to give us a fair shot at court. Can you at least hold them into a story? You feel me? At the very least, can you hold them into a story so we know what we're fighting against? Because if not, yo, it's an unfair prosecution. We're not going to be able to prepare for this defense. I mean, for this prosecution, where they got the option to run 17 different stories. And I agree.